What is up, guys? I didn't say my usual hello. It is Shana Garcia, IFB Bikini Pro, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I just can't. That's the only way I can say it. But we are back here today, and I'm sorry for a little bit of the delay. We know that we've been uploading once a week at least. We've just had a lot of stuff in the background. In a good way. We're just busy behind the scenes. So we are back in action here with Mario, the man. Can you just... Now, I know you guys love my glute sessions and you've been loving the progression of my glutes. Now, today I am going to focus on hip extension. When I say hip extension, I'm talking about the hinge back and coming back up from that hinge. Now, the reason why I really want to talk about this today is because I know that a lot of you guys may think when it comes to strength training for your glutes, you immediately think squats and deadlifts only. But the thing about squats and deadlifts, they are great for strength training and it's great to track your progress when it comes to increasing numbers as well. However, you are also involving other muscle groups such as your quads, your hamstrings, your adductors, your adductors. Now, I'm going to bring the movements today that really focus on the glutes properly. So we're gonna go through 4 movements today. We're gonna go through our Romanian deadlifts, hip thrusters. We're gonna go on an incline for hip extensions, and I really wanna show you guys how to go through that step by step because a lot of people tell me that they feel their adductors and their hamstrings more than their glutes. And so I'm gonna put you guys in the right position for that. And then we're just gonna do our normal, our favorite deficit reverse lunges because there's a way to hinge when it comes to that deficit reverse lunge. And so I'm gonna exaggerate that for you guys so you guys can see that. But anyways, my history of tearing my hip was during a squat. And ever since then, I've been avoiding like heavy squats or free weighted squats. I do bring on the sumo squats sometimes time to time, but on top of that, I am working on my hinging movements to help with my glutes. And then when your glutes, because your glutes are your biggest muscle group, when you improve in your glute strength, then you improve in your strength in like your compound movements such as squats and deadlifts. So they both work hand in hand with each other, but studies have definitely shown now that you don't need to squat to grow your glutes. I want you guys to remember the word hip extension, okay? Hip extension. Let's go. Again, hip extension is when you're able to hinge back and allow that stretch to happen with the glutes. And the reason why I'm starting on the Romanian deadlifts is so you guys understand what a hinge is, okay? But you will notice in everything that I'm doing today, it's gonna be hinge focused. So we're gonna start off with the Romanian deadlifts, which you guys have seen before, but I'm gonna bring the dumbbells in because we're always using the barbell all the time. So hinging back. When you're hinging back, your knees are also gonna go at a bend. And you're gonna get a stretch in the glutes. And then driving back up. And locking out at the top. But you don't want to lock out where your back extends like this. We're going to keep tension the whole way, which is why we come up to there and we come back down again. Now, as I come up as well, I'm squeezing the glutes and I'm allowing that stretch to happen when I'm bending down. More bend in the knee, you're going to bring it more to the glutes. Less bend of the knee and pushing all the way back like this is going to be more hamstrings. So Romanians, more bend. Ooh, stretch feels good. I know that time to time I bring the stiff-legged deadlifts and I also bring the Romanians. And the reason for that is because I'm focusing on 2 different things. When I'm doing the Romanian deadlifts, we're focusing more on the glutes, but you're still gonna get some hamstrings. So naturally when you're hinging back, you're gonna bring your hamstrings into it. But the more bend you have, the more glutes you're gonna get because you're getting more of a stretch on your glutes. Now when you're doing the stiff-legged deadlifts, it's primarily focusing on your hamstrings. I'm so out of breath. You're focusing on your hamstrings. When you focus on pushing your knees outwards, you can bring a little bit of glute in it, but you're primarily focusing on your hamstrings. The reason why I'm doing both is because I'm trying to strengthen both. And there's a reason why we do both of those movements. Quick note, people always tell me that they get an upper body pump during their leg sessions. And the reason being is because you're actually working your whole body still. when you are doing your lower body sessions. And that's why you get a little bit of upper body pump, that blood flow, you know? Sheesh. Sheesh. I'm loving my outfit today though. This is all keep that pump. We've got the oversized tee. We've got the navy blue Lily Ray shorts. Use my code Shayna10. No, but I'm loving the matching. I'm like all about like the color coordination, you know? And then we got our like dirty, slightly dirty Air Forces, you know? That's how we go. We train rough. All right, so I've gone up in weight a little bit. So also how I hold it when I'm doing dumbbells is on a slight, I literally just naturally let my arms sit here on a slant. So when I come up and down, it doesn't move around too much. Hinging back, bending the knees, stretching that glute, pausing, coming up and squeeze, stretching again. Whew. Ugh. That feels good. Totally felt the stretch of that. If you focus on hip extension, then your glutes are gonna grow. Also, when it comes to strength training, when you hear the word strength and training, strength training, it doesn't mean that it's just squats and deadlifts. I feel like everyone thinks it's immediately like that power move. Strength training means the ability to push force into a specific movement. Okay, so this is what we're doing with the Romanians. It's what we're gonna do with the hip thrusters, the hip extensions, all of it. But what you also wanna track when it comes to your growth is your progressive overloading. So don't be afraid to increase a little bit of weight. You know when it's too heavy, you know when it's too light. And if you drop a few reps just because you've increased in your weight, that's totally fine. You are still progressive overloading. Turn. For all of you guys that haven't seen my older videos, but I used to be a dental nurse back in the day. So we're all about sanitizing the seats, like patient after patient. And even like washing our hands, we'd wash our hands like 50 million times a day, which is why in result, I feel like my hands are so dry. They're so gross. And then freaking Las Vegas don't make it any better. It's so dry over here, bro. But hygiene, guys. We got our cute little bottles here at Cold Fitness. So cute! Oh my God, aesthetics. Actually, it's cute though. I like the color code. All right, I'm gonna move this. I personally don't like the pad on my shoulders for this. Okay, now you guys are going to see the hip extension when we are doing a hip thruster. This is my favorite hip extension move because if you do it properly, you're able to engage your glutes a lot. You'll know if you're bringing too much quads or hamstrings, because when you're bringing too much quads into this movement, it means your feet are too close to your bum. And then if you're bringing too much hamstring, it means your feet are too far away from your bum. There's a good medium in between where you'll find that it's just gonna go straight to the glutes. Now again, note the hip extension, that hinge on the way down, okay? Now it's important to keep your spine neutral. And you guys have seen me do this so many times before. Feet are gonna be just about shoulder width apart here. Toes slightly pointed outwards so that my knees can follow. Pushing up, hinge, hinge, hinge. And driving up. Oh my God. Literally, I'm getting such a good pump today, guys. Like, for real. Literally, glutes are on fire. We're only on 10 plates on each side, but we're gonna increase the weight now. When I'm like doing the hip thruster, I actually started doing Romanian deadlifts before a hip thruster. And so when I'm doing this, I'm also imagining that stretch that I get doing a Romanian deadlift. Keeping that spine neutral, bringing it down, and then coming up. But the difference when you come up in a hip thruster is you're focusing on like that drive on the way up, and also the squeeze at the top. There is There are times during hip thruster where I kind of just like, if I'm doing lightweight and I'm doing a burner set, where I kind of just go up and down and I don't lock out at the top as much. Now, if you ever feel it in your lower back, okay, and this is for all hinge movements, if you feel your lower back, it means two things. You're not in the right position, or your glutes aren't strong enough, because when it comes to hip extensions, you should primarily be feeling your glutes. If you have weak glutes, this is the reason why I'm really focusing on hip extension, because when you've got weak glutes, other muscle groups start taking over. So let's just say if you're doing squats, yes, you're gonna bring some quad in, but if you start feeling just more your adductors or your lower back and just your quads and you're not getting much glute, doesn't mean that your glutes aren't activating, it just means your glutes are weak. So bringing in movements like this where you're primarily focusing on the glutes is gonna help when it comes to the bigger moves such as squats and deadlifts. Now, I remember when I first came here, and this is what I mean about progressive overloading, I wasn't hip thrusting these plates. I was going a lot lighter. I'm definitely a lot more confident now after you know, a bit of the load, focus on the recovery, and really focusing on the progressive overload, because I'm a little bit more confident, well, not a little bit, I am more confident now when it comes to increasing my weights. Don't be afraid to increase in weights. And if you are scared, then get some professional guidance. Nothing wrong with getting some guidance sometimes, guys. Okay, I know we keep bringing glutes onto these episodes, guys, but it's because I know you guys love glutes. But I'm showing you guys that I do train my glutes 3 to 4 times a week. And some people say, that's just too much. It's not too much if you know how to work your programming around it. All right, there's a difference with the sets and loads and reps that I use on each day. So for example, one day I'll do some heavy Romanian deadlifts, some heavy hip thrusters, some reverse lunges. And another day I'll bring in the reverse lunges, but I'll focus more on a little bit of a quicker tempo or slower tempo, lighter sets. And then so the recovery can do its thing throughout the week too, which you guys are gonna start seeing. I'm gonna start taking you guys through like my volumes and my loads properly so you guys understand what I mean. Because if you wanna grow a specific area, then you need to keep training that specific area, but you do need to work the recovery around it too. You don't just train it just once a week. That's more for like the maintenance. So when I'm training my upper body, I literally train them once or like half a session because it's more focused on the maintenance side. Mission is to accomplish just the glutes. My goal is to have the biggest glutes for the shortest person. I want to have the biggest glutes for my height. I do. I can't get enough of it. I used to hate glutes so much, you know, and now I like love it because seeing the progression has been great. Seeing my weights go up has been great. And then actually like just looking at my overall physique, it's nice, like, you know, when you have your days like this, like right now, because I'm reversing my calories out, I've gained a little bit of weight, I've accepted it, but it's nice to have some glutes. So it's like worth it, you know, building that muscle tissue. Some little pointers for you guys when you guys are doing this movement. I am going to make sure that my hips are going to be, well, I want my whole upper body to be able to drop, okay? And the main reason for that is so that your glutes can get that stretch. My knees are also gonna be slightly softened, okay? So it's not gonna be fully bent where you're like a squat. You also don't want it straight because it's not gonna be able to travel up to the hamstrings and the glutes. And we're gonna have our toes pointed outwards because if we don't have them pointed outwards, then we're probably gonna get a little bit of quad as well. Now, there is such thing as pointing your toes too outwards. Now, if you go a little bit too wide, you're gonna start feeling your adductors. If you feel your adductors, that's where you bring them in slightly. About here. All right, so soft knees, so not here. We're gonna soften the knees so then we can get a stretch in the hamstring to travel up to the glutes. My toes are slightly pointed outwards. We're gonna keep the back neutral. We're gonna come down, get a full stretch. Now, when we come up, we are gonna squeeze, but we're gonna make sure that we're not hyperextending the back, because once you do, that's gonna go straight to your lower back. If you wanna maintain glutes, you wanna stop here. So we're gonna be straight. I'm gonna hold a plate as well in front of my face, so we have a load on the way up. And then we're gonna squeeze on the way up. Oh, also, your feet. The reason why you wanna bring it high enough is so then you're eliminating quad. If you are too low, you're not gonna be able to push up against the pad to be able to activate hamstring. Okay, so it's even when you're doing like, what do you call it, lying hamstring curls, for example. You need to push your hip forward, okay, thrusting forward, so you can activate this part here. So that's the same as these. If you're all the way down here, you're not gonna be able to push. So feet high enough until you can get a stretch on this part here. All right. Now I'm just gonna hold this because I'm a shorty. Hold it directly in front of me so the load distributes evenly on the way up and down. Squeeze glutes. Woo, feeling that. Whew. Oh my God, I'm burning so bad. You'll know on the way down if it's not feeling right. You feel a little bit of adductors, quads. You gotta make adjustments to your toes as well as the bench. You'll know. You don't wanna be restricted to be able to get that full stretch. You also don't wanna come like too low where when you come back up, you're not gonna be able to thrust against the bench either. So you guys can see I was like softened in the knees, stretched down, and I squeezed and I thrusted inwards on the way up so I could get that squeeze. Again, toes slightly pointed outwards, not too outwards. Whew. Yeah. Wow, that's actually amazing. Glute pumps are on. Well, I didn't know that I had a tattoo. A little bit of a tattoo there. It says family is forever in Espanol. All right, so that is our incline hip extension. Again, incline because we're trying to eliminate quads, and then making sure that the bench is low and high enough to be able to come down at a full stretch, but still able to thrust up. Toes slightly pointed outwards, and if you feel your adductors, that means bring them in a tad bit. Soften the knees, especially on that stretch on the way down. Now we are gonna move on to our favorite, and we're gonna go into our reverse lunges. We are on our last exercise, and you guys know I love my deficit reverse lunges. Now I'm going to exaggerate the hinge back. Hinge, 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 okay? Hinging back, knees are bending, getting good stretch. Because we're aiming for glutes and hamstrings more and taking the quad out, we need this to be aligned. I know I repeat this so many times, but we're gonna really focus on paying attention to that hinge back and the drive forward, and then coming back up. And I'm gonna go at a deficit because we want a deeper stretch. We want some big ass glutes after this. So when you're doing walking lunges forward, naturally your knee is gonna go forward. So that's why you'll never really see me bring in walking lunges, because when you're doing walking lunges, it's gonna do this. You're getting that hinge, but you're also bringing the quad in, which is why I always focus on the reverse lunge, because you have that control of coming back and not allowing your knee to go forward. Because when you're going forward, you have to bring the knee forward. And although the glute is receiving load when you're walking forward, but you're also bringing your quad into it, which is going to eliminate a little bit more off your glute. When you want to focus on the glutes, you got to bring it back. With deficit reverse lunges though, you are bringing your hamstrings in as well, but we're removing the quad off it. And quads are such a big muscle group too, right? So if you bring that in, then we're kind of taking a little bit of load off the potential load that you could bring in more when you're doing a reverse lunge. Coming down, hinging back, and squeeze. I'm just going to alternate for you guys so you guys can see from each angle. Squeeze. Hinging back, stretch, knee at a bend, squeeze. Put that down. One of the main things that I could say, when I tore my hip back in the day, I mentioned that I tore it when I was doing squats. Now, I know for a fact that my glutes were so weak during that time that my adductors, my quads, and my lower back compensated because my glutes weren't strong enough. And so this is why I am progressive overloading strength training in my glutes, because when it comes to movements like the squats, I know that my glutes are going to be strong enough. My power and my explosion in a squat is so different compared to what it used to be. If I had implemented everything that I do right now and I did that session again, I would have not torn my hip. When your glutes are weak, other areas are going to compensate. And as a result, it could cause injury. I'm not saying that you will have an injury. That's exactly what happened to me. My glutes weren't strong enough that everything else compensated in that set. And my recovery was pretty shit that day, so now I listen to the body a lot more. All right, we're gonna do one more set. I'm gonna double the load. See, I'm so proud I can just like double the load. I remember when I only did like no plates, you know? Now we're double stacking on here. Whew. I mean, you really feel when you don't get much sleep. It's always my excuse, but last night, I'm feeling it today. But I'm actually very proud of the glute pumps that we're able to get today. We got some good glute pumps going here. Very happy. Considering the lack of sleep and not as much as intensity as I would normally bring. Wow, 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 hip extension, guys. There it is. We have done our 4 movements. Now I'll bring more hip extension explanatory stuff on here a little bit more often. But you guys get the point. You don't need to just do squats and deadlifts to be able to grow your glutes. So I'm gonna keep bringing more movements on here. But you know, you guys have noticed I keep bringing the same sort of moves. The incline hip extension is something that I haven't really brought on here, which is why I wanted to take you guys through, but it is a great exercise. Thank you so much for following me along that session, and we promise we're gonna be more consistent right now. We ain't ever gonna do that again. But anyways, guys, I know you guys have been watching and loving the content lately, and so many people have been requesting a few things, and one of the I put a Q&A up the other day, and someone asked me to show what I really did to bring in my glute progression in the last year. So it's basically it. Hip extension is key. Now remember, again, note that your glutes is one of your largest muscle groups, and it is important to train them if you want to grow them aesthetically. Now, although genetics does have a role in muscle growth, for as long as you're focusing on strength training, progressive overloading, and focusing on your progress in the gym and your recovery, you will grow. And make sure that you are training them as often and still paying attention to your recovery outside of that. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I am gonna start bringing in my reps and tempos and probably display them on here so you guys can understand how I program throughout the week. But thank you so much for following me in that workout today, guys. Until next time.